I think today is Memorial Day, right? Imagine being so disconnected from the world that you just like lose track of holidays and shit and time. So happy Memorial Day to all of those people who fought in wars and shit. To all those people who fought in Jewish wars. Happy Memorial Day. But that's not what this video is about. This is about why people hate incels. I'll be the first to say I'm not a true cell. I've said it on this channel a few times. Who the hell would want to be a true cell anyways? I guess there's a certain purity to it, but I'm definitely an incel in spirit. I'm close enough to being one that I identify with it, and they make some very strong points, which as far as I'm concerned are undeniable. They're also fucking hilarious. I don't know, I guess the humor is a cope. The humor comes from the darkest places and the abandonment of political correctness. But why do people hate incels? I mean, in a nutshell, they're just people. Most guys are incel to some degree. They're basically just a bunch of guys who are angry and upset because they can't get laid, which is a legitimate thing for a person to be upset about as far as I'm concerned. That is considered to all people with sense a legitimate need. But it also goes beyond that into how your looks and genetics determine even your social life and your ability to acquire friends and get a job and all those things as well. Not being able to get laid is just the the ultimate um, form of being incel. It's the one that sticks in your craw the most. Why do people hate incels? Well, as far as I can tell, I'm going to tell you the essential reason, I think, just to make things simple, and then we'll go into detail. I think the essential reason is that incels force people, and I ask myself this question every time I see a group that's hated or a person that's hated. Does this thing that's hated force people to confront something about themselves that they're either not ready to confront or they're afraid to confront? I think incels do that. I think they do that to the max, as much as it possibly can be done. So ironically, they reinforce their non-existence or society's hatred of them. And then the just world fallacies get applied, and then the normies who don't actually think and aren't actually human, they start saying shit like, this is why you're hated. Because only bad people are hated, and only good people are loved. This is the simplistic, childish, idealistic, normie way of thinking. They have to justify hatred, their own hatred, by twisting it into this positive thing. But anyways, what is it that the incels are forcing people to confront about themselves that they are not ready to or that they're afraid to? For women, I think, I mean, and I can break this up into so many groups that hate incels. Pretty much every group that's not incel hates incels, even the ones that are the closest ideologically to incels, like MGTOW. And you can, yeah, you can break it up. I can split so many groups and say, okay, this is why they would hate incels. But I'm gonna just say women. Start with women. Incels basically diffuse every myth about female compassion, and they do so with data. I mean, hard, indisputable facts, arguments, and so on. Because what does the female want to believe about herself? More often than not, she has a vested interest, even if deep down she doesn't actually believe in it. She has a vested interest in maintaining the myth of female compassion, that women are these compassionate, wonderful, loving, nurturing creatures, and they love equally. They think everybody is deserving of love, and all this kinds of stuff. But as I said, you gotta look where do people actually use their resources. Woman's resource, ultimate resource, is between her legs. She's not giving that to an incel. She's not giving that to a broke guy with no money, unless he's Chad, and then you guys know how that shit works. AFBB. It's do as I say, not as I do. Women and liberals and Jews embody that so much it's not even funny. They want the rest of the world to live up to their standards, but they break their own rules constantly. They really think that they're just above everything. And the female, with the incel narrative, if a woman accepts the incel narrative, the black pill narrative, which I haven't seen one yet actually, which is surprising. I haven't seen a female that actually accepts the black pill, like for real. But she would have to acknowledge her role. They would have to acknowledge their collective role in perpetuating misery, misery of a large, fairly large group of men, simply because they will not give those men this thing which is supposedly meaningless and has no value, which is sex. So that's why women, I think, hate incels. Um, I guess feminists in particular. Why men hate incels? Obviously, because most men are incel to some degree. There's only really like 10% of men, 20 at the absolute most, who who can say pretty definitively that they're not incel. Even a lot of guys who do get sex certainly cannot get it um, as much as to meet their desire or needs. And you have men who are flat out quote unquote addicted to sex and validation. And I mean, obviously that produces more of a need, sort of like a drug. You need more in order to get the same effects, diminishing returns, that kind of thing. That's why even Chad gets tired of his lifestyle, because everything has to balance out eventually. So men hate that. Hate being confronted with this brutal, suicide-inducing reality that the let's face it, the thing that they want the most, even if they try to hamster and say, "Yeah, I'm going to the gym." And getting all this muscle, and it has nothing to do with women. I'm not trying to attract women. I just want to feel good and healthy and strong. Like they do the same thing that women do when they wear fucking nothing outside, and they're like, "I'm doing this because I want to feel sexy. This is for me." Shut the fuck up, dumb fuck. Shut the fuck up. They want to believe, men, and this is why men hate incels, they want to believe that they can get what they want just by working hard, just by holding frame, just by looks maxing and all that, and just by becoming a feminist, by being the compassionate good guy. All these things, men want to believe that there are many pathways to getting laid. And okay, I'm a reasonable person. To some degree, that is true. And this is why the term true cell is necessary. Because guess what? There are guys for whom there is absolutely no hope of that. I was literally just reading, and of course you had virtue signaling retards in there trying to tell this guy that there's still hope. But this guy is literally talking about how he lost his dick to cancer. He lost his penis. He has no penis. And then you have the people who are so true cell and so physically ugly that they don't have a shot in hell, really. They don't have a snowball's chance. Then you have the people who are so mentally fucked that, again, they don't have a snowball's chance. That's not something you can just flip a switch and fix it. The problem is largely a self-replicating problem, because you're like this, and then people react to you like this, and then that just reinforces the way you are. Like I was saying in my other video about the ugly guy that I was hanging out with. He was obviously, like, he was an asshole. I'm not gonna say he wasn't. He was an asshole. But I knew, subconsciously, I knew that part of the reason, probably the biggest reason he was because of his looks and the way people treated him simply based on that. It's a self-replicating disease. And that's why a lot of men hate incels, because they don't want to confront that part about themselves, that there's a little incel in all of us. That's scary. No one wants to think that. And there's no easier way to shame a man than to use sex. Than to say, that's the easiest shaming tactic in the world. To imply that a man doesn't get laid or he can't have sex or whatever. Why? Because that is obviously the ultimate biological goal, to reproduce. Because we are a disease as well. And what does a disease exist for if not to self-replicate and to reproduce? Don't tell me that human beings are not a blight on the planet. I'm sorry. I don't care how cynical that is. Anyways. So that's why men hate incels, because no man wants to acknowledge the incel within himself. In a nutshell. And since this video is getting kind of long, I went on for longer than I thought I would, as usual, but why does the world at large hate incels? And this is me getting even more to the core of the truth. Why does the world at large seem to hate incels? I already said it. The truth. Incels force people to confront what is most people's most people are wary of at best, which is the truth. Just the truth. Especially the people in media, Jews, women, people who have a fundamental aversion to truth, of course hate incels, because that is what incels bring to the table. The cold, hard truth. And with that, I will say thank you and goodbye. For now. I'm Obsidian Pill, and I approve of this message.